How you doing, Trench? I'm back.
If you're a sincere seeker of truth, check that.
This is the part you want to cut out and put on Twitter.
Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to an episode.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
Oh, you guys been asking for it. Apos.
I have no muscles here. I have no muscles. I have no muscles here. I have no muscles.
So Apos has been dodging Muhammed Hijab for quite a while now. So to confront his Islamophobia and hate preaching, Muhammed Hijab had to adopt a slightly different style. With the help of Adam Saleh and Slim, Hijab decided to pay Apos a surprise visit.
Because you don't believe in it, you are also followed and persecuted for that. So it is completely normal that somebody who leaves Islam, whose entire life was defined by the fears of
No! We have our friend here who's more I feel like he's way more. It's not about Muhammad Hijab. No, it's not about him. It's not about that.
Calm down.
I have made it straight.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Look. Apos, relax. Apos.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
Muhammad Hijab is the gift that keeps on giving. He's been giving so much content lately to David Wood and a ton of other YouTubers. And recently, he ambushed the Apostate Prophet on a podcast, and I just want to share a snippet of that discussion to show how Muslim apologists use dishonesty in their arguments for Islam. They got into a discussion about whether or not the Quran, or at least parts of the Quran, have sort of a dualistic application, one to the 7th century and one to the 21st century, sort of one to the unscientific world and one to the modern world. And this approach to make religious texts concord or agree with science is not new. There are actually Christians who do this, and there are entire ministries made up of actual bona fide scientists who are also Bible-believing Christians, and they make a case for how the Bible has an application to the original audience and how it has an application to today in our modern scientific world. You can look up people like Hugh Ross, his ministry is called Reasons to Believe, and simply compare the scientific arguments that they make from the Bible to modern science to the sort of arguments that Muslim apologists make from the Quran. Alright, now without further ado, let's get into the clip.
The Quran says, and by the way, the Quran says in chapter 25 that there are many suns, because it says, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ فِي السَّمَاءِ بُرُوجًا.
No, it does not.
Pardon?
What does it say that?
Yeah, it says in chapter 25, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ فِي السَّمَاءِ بُرُوجًا وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا سُرُجًا منيرة. There's two qira'ahs. One qira'ah says سِرَاجًا منيرة and سُرُجًا منيرة. So,
what chapter, what verse?
I can't remember the verse here, but this you can just check it. Chapter 25.
That is most definitely untrue.
Well, I've just quoted it in the Arabic, so you can. Why is it most definitely untrue? I've just told you in the Arabic because I don't know the verse number. Sorry, I don't know the verse numbers. I haven't memorized the verse numbers. I've memorized the Arabic. So, تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها. There's two qira'ahs. One of them is Siraj Munira, and there's another one Suraj Munira. The Siraj Munira means a shining lamp, and Suraj Munira means many stars. So a shining lamp means a star, and many suns, one sun and many suns. So in other words, the Quran says that there are many suns. The cosmic picture of the Quran, therefore, is that there are many suns, many solar systems, because suns are accompanied with solar systems.
Alright, so what Muhammad Hijab is doing here is an attempt to argue that the Quran speaks of multiple solar systems, and the implication is that this is a scientific miracle, because how could the Quran have this information in the 7th century unless God revealed it? And he bases this on chapter 25, verse 61. Now, just to break down what's being said here, as Muhammad Hijab helped popularize with Yasir Qadi that there are multiple readings or qira'at of the Quran. That means that there are different versions of the Arabic Quran, which, as Muhammad Hijab is pointing out here, result in very different meanings. In one reading of the verse, it uses the word sirajan, which means lamp, in the singular. And then in another version, it uses the plural, surajan. So to be clear, the verse doesn't actually use the word sun. It uses the word lamp and lamps. But Muhammad Hijab is saying that when it's in the singular, it refers to sun, singular, and when it's in the plural, it refers to sons, plural. And he's using this to substantiate his argument that the Quran speaks of multiple suns and therefore multiple solar systems, supposedly a scientific miracle of the Quran.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
Why you always freaking lying? Why you always lying? Why you always lying?
No, I've never said that either.
Why you always freaking lying?
I was like, whoa, oh my god. I was like,
Now he entirely missed or skipped or omitted the word qamaran, which means moon. And I'm going to ask you, why do you think he did that? He cites it twice in Arabic, and in Arabic he skips it as well. But he translates it in English, skips it, completely omits the word moon, and he even looks it up on his phone later, and he never corrects himself. My question is, why do you think he skipped over the word qamar or qamaran, the word moon? Let's listen to it one more time.
Yeah, it says in chapter 25, تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها سروجا منيرا. There's two qira'ahs. One qira'ah says سراجا منيرا and سروجا منيرا.
Wait, Hijab, wait. Why are you lying? Shame on you. Stop doing bid'ah, ya Hijab. Why are you doing bid'ah? Why are you playing with the Quran of Allah, man? People are getting killed for it in Islam. I hope that your friends are not going to hurt you for playing with the Quran of Allah, doing bid'ah. Why are you playing? Why are you removing words? Why are you removing the word the moon, a moon, from the ayah? Did you eat it? Were you hungry, Mr. Muhammad Hijab? Were you hungry that day during the debate with the apostate prophet? No, the ayah doesn't sound like that. The ayah reads like this. تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها سراجا وقمرا منيرا. So Mr. Muhammad Hijab, why did you remove this word, this highlighted word, a moon? Do you have any shame? I hope that the Muslims won't force you to repent after dragging you over the floor with your beard. They should actually do that. They should come to you, grab you by your beard, and tell you, why are you doing bid'ah? Why are you playing with the Quran? Shame on you. Drag you by your beard, clean the floor with your beard, and force you to repent. Because people, like I said, people are getting killed for corrupting the Quran. Shame on you, Mr. Muhammad Hijab. It seems that us Christians have to teach you the Quran. But what did Muhammad Hijab say? I memorized the Quran. Yeah, right.
You're coming to me. You're coming to me. I'm the A side. I've got the gold. I've got the qualification.
Well, I personally think you're terrible in your understanding of Islam. But
I've memorized the Quran. You get it? I've done the thing.
it does.
Now he entirely missed or skipped or omitted the word qamaran, which means moon. And I'm going to ask you, why do you think he did that? He cites it twice in Arabic, and in Arabic he skips it as well. But he translates it in English, skips it, completely omits the word moon, and he even looks it up on his phone later, and he never corrects himself. My question is, why do you think he skipped over the word qamar or qamaran, the word moon? Let's listen to it one more time.
Yeah, it says in chapter 25, تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها سروجا منيرا. There's two qira'ahs. One qira'ah says سراجا منيرا and سروجا منيرا. وجعل فيها سروجا منيرا وجعل فيها سروجا منيرا وجعل فيها سروجا منيرا سروجا منيرا.
You are so silly.
If you believe that this book is from other than God, then please try and find it. Oh, you would have found in it many contradictions. لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا.
I have shown many of them.
Challenge there to try and find contradictions in the Quran.
I have falsified the Quran on very high levels.
Do it now. That's fine.
Now, to substantiate his argument, he goes to At-Tabari. At-Tabari was a popular Muslim commentator of the 9th, 10th century. And again, his argument is that the Quran can be interpreted in a way that's compatible with modern science as well as in the unscientific world of the 7th century, that dual application. Now, the Quran in a variant reading of chapter 25 verse 61 says lamp, lamps, which according to Muhammad Hijab means sun and suns. Therefore, compatible with our modern understanding that there are many suns, therefore many solar systems. Alright, so he appeals to At-Tabari. Let's listen to that.
In the sky, and that there is also a lamp,
Tabari says here, look,
a lamp and an illuminating moon, which refers to the sun and the moon. This is
but
this is a ridiculous claim.
It says it here. Look, I can read it to you if you want. It says, this is Tabari's tafsir. بروجا وجعل فيها سراجا. اختلف القراء في قراءة ذلك فقراءة عامة قراء المدينة والبصرة وجعل فيها سراجا. So there's one way of saying it, which is سراجا على التوحيد. So that means one sun. That's what Tabari is saying. And the other ones say سروجا, وقمرا منيرا, which means many suns. That's what Tabari says. But you can't access Tabari because it's in Arabic, so it's not in English.
What he doesn't tell you is that At-Tabari actually never says suns. He says that the first reading of it in the singular, Surajan, refers to a Shams, which means the sun. But the other reading, Suraj or Surajan, refers to a Najum, the stars. And he says that these are stars that everybody can see and they can use them for guidance, maybe for traveling or something like that. He never says that these stars are suns, never says anything about solar systems or anything close to that. What Muhammad Hijab is doing here is clearly just taking advantage of the fact that his opponent does not understand Arabic, and he lies to him and says that At-Tabari agrees that these are suns, when in fact he says that these are stars. But did you notice something else that he said? He said that At-Tabari said many suns, which he never said, but he actually read the word moon, وَقَمَرًا مُنِيرًا, but he didn't translate it. Why not? Let's listen to it again.
سروجا, وقمرا منيرا, which means many suns. That's what Tabari says. But you can't access Tabari because it's in Arabic, so it's not in English.
Did you hear him say the word qamaran? I honestly don't know if he's trying to give the impression that that means many suns, as he says, or if he's just embarrassed on the spot and doesn't translate it because he knows what will ruin his argument. Listen to it one more time.
سروجا, وقمرا منيرا, which means many suns. That's what Tabari says.
Well, either way you look at it, it's dishonest. Because if it's the first, where he's saying qamaran means many suns, that's a lie. Qamaran means moon. Or if it's the latter, the reason why he omits it, it's dishonest because it destroys his entire argument. That's why I think he omitted and skipped over the word moon every single time he made reference to his argument and reiterated it. It destroys his argument because he's arguing that based on the variant reading, where it says sorojan, lamps, that lamps here is the plural, in the plural is referring to suns. Let's ignore At-Tabari says that these are stars, which is how, if you go back, Muhammad Hijab naturally translates it twice as stars, but he corrected himself and then said suns. But let's just put that to the side and say that it means suns for the sake of argument. The verse is saying that God made a lamp and shining moon. Again, Muhammad Hijab cut out the word moon entirely, but the variant says lamps and a shining moon. Muhammad is arguing that lamps here refers to suns, which we'll grant for the sake of argument, and therefore there are multiple solar systems. Many suns, many solar systems. However, there's a huge problem with that. The reason why he skipped over the word moon is because if you take this argument seriously, then there's only one moon for all of the solar systems in existence. Do you see how dishonest he is and why he left out the word moon now? He purposely read the verse in a way that is grammatically odd and incorrect and left it out just to make his argument work. How dishonest is that? But again, if what he's saying is true, and that the Quran here, in the variant reading where it says Sorojan, lamps, plural, refers to suns, many solar systems, then he's stuck. How are you going to explain now that there's only one singular moon for all of the solar systems? We know that in our solar system alone, there are 200 moons. And the argument fails for another reason. Remember that the argument that he's presenting says that the Quran teaches that there are multiple suns, therefore multiple solar systems. Putting aside the fact that the Quran would also be teaching that there's one moon for all of these solar systems, there's another error. His main point is, how can this be that the Quran in the 7th century contains information that says that there are multiple solar systems when that information wasn't available back then? But this discussion that they're having is in the context of a larger debate of scientific errors in the Quran. They previously discussed about how the Quran teaches shooting stars are missiles that Allah shoots at demons. And again, just for argument's sake, if the argument that Muhammad Hijab presenting is true, that there are many suns and therefore many solar systems, how does this prove that the Quran has divine origin? How does he know that Muhammad received this revelation from a demon or some satanic source? They told him that there are many solar systems. How can he argue against that? Anyway, the verse seems to be referring to our planet, Earth, and how there's a sun and there's a moon. And if you take the variant reading, it's talking about there being a moon and stars, many stars. But it in no way and nowhere says that there are many suns or many solar systems, unless you want to argue that there's a singular moon for all of the solar systems in existence, in which case we can use that as an argument against Islam. Muhammad Hijab is the gift that keeps on giving.
You are so silly.
Now, I've heard Muhammad Hijab making videos in Arabic, and he appears to have a good grasp of the language. But here, he says, Surajan Muniran, which when I first heard, sounded very unnatural to me, and it sounded weird, because you have a plural noun, Surajan, lamps, matched with the singular participle, Muniran, which means shining. And it's also in the masculine, singular, masculine, which I know doesn't translate well into English in terms of understanding why this sounds awkward and incorrect in Arabic, but the fact is that when Muhammad Hijab said that, even though that's grammatically incorrect in Arabic, which means that when he said it, he knew it sounded awkward and it sounded weird, but he still said it to make his argument. Now, the Quran doesn't actually say that. The Quran uses the word moon before munira, and that's important, but I just wanted to point out that he's even willing to make a grammatical mistake, omit words from the Quran in order to make his argument.
Yeah.
Why you always freaking lying? Why you always lying? Why you always lying?
No, I've never said that either.
Why you always freaking lying?
I was like, whoa, oh my god. I was like,
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
That the standard narrative,
Boy,
that the standard narrative
you'll finish.
has holes, has holes. That the standard narrative,
Boy,
that the standard narrative
you'll finish.
has holes, has holes. This is a topic that when you're the beginning student of knowledge, you're like, what is all of this going on? What is all of this going on here? When you go a little bit more, you learn to simply memorize what your teachers say and regurgitate it out. And you don't fully comprehend. When you do a deep dive is when things get very, very awkward. That the standard narrative,
Boy,
that the standard narrative
you'll finish.
has holes, has holes. That the standard narrative,
Boy,
that the standard narrative
you'll finish.
has holes, has holes. And I don't think it is wise to bring it up. Why didn't I say it? Because it should not be said in public. I don't want to get into that issue. I don't even want to be explicit. It should only be discussed amongst those who are familiar with this science. It should never be brought up in public. This is not something you discuss amongst the masses, ya akhi. It's not wise. That the standard narrative,
Boy,
that the standard narrative
you'll finish.
has holes, has holes. That the standard narrative,
Boy,
that the standard narrative
you'll finish.
has holes, has holes.
You're finished.
It was like, whoa, oh my God. I was like,
Anyways, I'm done.
I'll be back.
Surprise.